Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Cary. I'm the project geologist for the Brewery Creek Mine, Golden Predators kind of keystone project. I'm going to give a presentation this morning that's just really an update on the technical work from our 2020 program. Right now, Brewery Creek is at the top of our plate for things to do, and we're advancing the project towards production. Our focus is to restart the mine, which operated from 1996 to 2002. Right now, we have approximately 1.3 million ounces of leachable gold in the indicated and inferred categories that averages about a gram per ton. This map shows the location of Brewery Creek. The inset map there shows that we're located about 500 kilometers north of Whitehorse. And then in detail here in red is the outline of the property. It's approximately 180 square kilometers. We're located 55 kilometers east of Dawson City with road access into the mine site. Kind of a quick overview of the regional geologic setting and the model that we're looking at. Brewery Creek, it was discovered in 1989. At the time, there wasn't really a model classification for it, but through time, it's been termed an intrusion-related gold system. It's part of the Tintina Gold Belt, which is shown here in the yellow on the inset map. Brewery Creek is located right here on the east side of the Tintina Fault. When we look at the main map here, there's really three rock units. Shown in white, to the north up here, this is all cratonal North America, so old North America. Shown in the purple here is rocks of the Selwyn Basin. These are oceanic deep marine rocks that range in age from Proterozoic through late Paleozoic. And then down in the yellow to the south are the exotic terrains. These are pieces of pieces of rock that were amalgamated onto North America starting about 140 million years ago. And again, on here, Brewery Creek is located right here. We see two major structural components that are very important at Brewery Creek. The first set of structures are these thrust faults that you see right here. The age of these is Jurassic to early Cretaceous. These are low-angle thrust faults that were formed when the Selwyn Basin was thrust and juxtaposed up onto the margin of North America. We also see high-angle strike-slip faults that are about the same age, and the strike-slip faults actually continue through time, and probably the most prominent is this fault that's shown right here, that's the Tintina Fault. That's truly one of the largest structural features in North America. These structural zones allow magma to come up into them. These are called the Tombstone Intrusion Suite. The age on these is mid-Cretaceous. These are not arc-related intrusions. These are probably related to a thickening of the crust and heating. At Brewery Creek, we see two different compositions. We see an early monzonitic composition that's subalkalic, and then we see a late alkalic syenite composition. So, a fairly complex intrusive history. At Brewery Creek, our intrusive lithologies are the best host rock because they break the best. Brewery Creek is strongly fracture controlled. The gold-bearing minerals are pyrite, arsenopyrite, and stibnite and quartz. And then we see quartz as veins, stockworks, and replacements. And just a schematic model, again, we talk about areas where we can find gold. I'm going to talk a lot about the reserve trend, which was where most of the gold production has came from Brewery Creek. That's actually what we call sill complexes. They're conformable intrusions into metasedimentary rocks that would be sitting right here in the model. And then as we come to the south in what we call the classic Lone Star trend, we start seeing gold disseminated inside the pluton as fracture controls inside the pluton, and then actually out right on the margin where we see skarn and hornfells develop in sedimentary rocks along these intrusive contacts. Just a quick look at the AeroMAG to show you the difference between these two settings. The reserve trend is shown up here on the north side. The structural zone is shown in yellow. And as you come through, you can see it's it's a mag low. This zone extends back out across here, back to the west. And then as you come to the south, you see this magnetic high area that represents the intrusions with the adjacent hornfels and skarn alteration. Most gold deposits in the Yukon that we've explored for, soil geochemistry is our main tool. This map shows soil geochemistry for the project. And so again, here in red, you can see the structures. These are our thrust faults here, and then these are our strike slip faults right back through here. And again, you can see how well the surface gold geochemistry lines up with these structural zones. The focus of our program this year and looking forward into the future is to continue to grow the leachable gold resource. This is a view here looking to the east along the reserve trend. This is the old Kokanee pit right here. And so, we will continue to work to add ounces to the project. We had success drilling what we termed gap zones in 2019 and 2020. And this really focused on testing the strike projection of these major structural zones and believing in them and getting them drilled, even in areas where we probably didn't have the best soil geochemistry. And as always, we'll continue to explore using soil geochemistry and geophysics, basically to continue to define these regionally extensive structural zones that are the plumbing system that gets our gold up into a near surface setting. This map just shows the resource areas as they stand, and you can see they're classified by color. The areas that you see in green, these are permitted resources. And then here you come back down this, so this is the reserve trend. In yellow, these are resources that are defined but are not permitted yet. And then in these areas right here, these represent areas where we don't have a resource built yet, and that just needs more drilling. And that's really just based on drill hole density. The 2020 work program, really the early work that we did was the update of the mineral resource. We added another 139 holes from the 2019 drill program. As I'd stated earlier, our total resource now sits at 1.3 million ounces of leachable gold, both indicated and inferred at an average grade of 1 gram. And this year we completed right at 6,000 meters of reverse circulation and diamond drilling that supported metallurgical, geotechnical, and resource development studies. The mineral resource, kind of the two real takeaways that came out of this year. The first was that we incorporated a metallogenic leach recovery model that was new. And this basically incorporated cyanide soluble assay data, bottle roll and column leach test work, which helps us better define the leach recovery of the gold mineralization. And then the other was that our modeling confirms how continuous the mineralization is. I'll show a video here on the next slide. And right now from what we call the Canadian area to the east over to the golden area, we can model gold mineralization over 3.5 kilometers of strike length. And so, this is a significant mineralized system. Yeah, so this is a video we put together that does a really good job of showing you the current resource block model. So this is an aerial view looking back to the east along the reserve trend. And so camp sits right here, the historic heap leach. And then as we move back up along here on the reserve trend. Okay, and then now you can see here in the yellow and red, this is the actual block model. This is from the January resource calculation that we put out. The drill holes that you see here are the 2019 drill holes. So at this point, this model has changed because we've incorporated those into an updated resource model that we published in August of 2020. And there. But again, I've talked about gap zones. Right here between blue and Canadian is another gap zone that needs to be addressed. In 2019, our focus was what we called the Foster's Gap. And you see the drilling in here. And again, you can see, quite a bit of gold grade that sat outside the models. This shows you how much mineralization we have coming down dip. And then this drilling that you see right in here, this is the golden extension. And so this, I don't like calling things discoveries, but this was a zone that likely because of access, it was difficult to get into, was just left be. And it's turned out it will be a nice little addition to this year's resource model. And, red and yellow holes that go from the Lucky Zone down to Canadian. These were the geotechnical and metallurgical holes. The holes shown in green right here were the infill holes where we were extending mineralization to the east. And then the exploration holes are shown down here to the south in blue. So you can see wide space drilling, upwards of 1 kilometer from the nearest drilling, any previous drilling. The next area that we'll look at, we'll just focus in right here where the infill drilling took place this year. The 2020 drilling really, updated and followed up on the 2019 results, which defined an eastern extension to gold mineralization in the historic Golden Pit. In 2019, the wide space drilling had enough data to initiate a starter pit. And this year we put another 32 holes into that zone to develop it. Right now I've got approximately 2,500 assays pending. And we've got XRF arsenic data, which has outlined several zones of potential mineralization. This zone has a strike length of about 400 meters, and we've tested it from surface down dip about 250 meters. This is a plan map of that drilling. The 2020 holes are shown in blue, and the 2019 holes here are shown kind of in a black with the gold assays. So these gold intercepts in the 2019 drilling actually initiated this starter pit that you see right here. Just off to the northeast, this is the margin of the Lucky Pit, and then down to the southwest, this is the edge of the old Golden Pit. And so, we're hoping to bring all of this back into the resource category. This next slide shows just the 2020 drilling with arsenic. Over here to the side, you can see everything in purple is 1,000 ppm and above. Yellow is 100 ppm and above. For us, anytime we see better than 100 ppm arsenic, we're very interested. It usually has a gold association with it. And so you can see here, there was significant arsenic in this year's drilling. This is a cross section through that pit. And again, here you can see the pit is defined right here with the individual blocks. The blue points that you see are indicated ore. The green blocks that you see are inferred ore. In magenta, this is a 0.1 ppm ore shell. 2019 drill holes here and here that show the gold intervals. So the grade shell was built off of the 2019 drill holes. The 2020 program, or the drill holes shown here without assays, are basically populating that grade shell, and will basically augment the next resource calculation we do in the area. At the end of the season, we were able to get down and get a few exploration holes in that we talked about earlier. We put 2 holes on the south end here in an area we call the Cliffs that represents the extension of mineralization from Classic down through Lone Star. And then the hole up to the north here, we called it the porphyry zone. We've got a north-south structure that comes out of North Lone Star to the north that has been of interest. It's controls a series of alkalic dikes back up through that area. A quick look at the mag again. The two drill holes at the cliffs sit right in this area. That single hole on the porphyry zone sits right here, and it's back up on this structure coming back through here. Plan view map. These drill holes represent the Lone Star area. So this is the start. No resource here yet, but just needs additional drilling. We drilled the Cliffs A and the Cliff B zone that you see here. On the inset up here, you can see the soil geochemistry come down. This is just a little insert. We're right out onto the edge of our soil grid. Down in this corner, this is a Google Earth view looking back to the northwest. The red that you see here is the trace of the classic fault, and that's shown in yellow on this slide. This is the trace of this splay that you see here. It's shown in yellow in there. And so the two drill holes we drilled were here and here. Assays for all of this, these were just finished up a couple weeks ago, and assays are pending. We feel strongly about the exploration potential at Brewery Creek. We've got potential for upgrading and expanding all the known resources, and the real exploration has been focused in a single area. Basically about 9 kilometers here along the reserve trend has been the focus of all the exploration. So a tremendous amount of work to do down here in the southern part of the project around these intrusive bodies, and additional work to do on these footwall and hanging wall thrust faults that are fairly well defined. And on this footwall zone here, we already have 2 resource areas developed in there. So, and in terms of mine planning right now, feasibility level mine planning is ongoing by Tetra Tech, and this will incorporate the mining of all licensed material, and that's shown below. Basically, all the mineralization from the Foster zone through the Golden zone, Lucky Moosehead, and then Pacific and Blue. This represents about 600,000 ounces of oxide. Most of this resource remains open to expansion, and future drilling will focus on increasing the drill density to continue to convert inferred resource to indicated resource, and to develop new resources, both along strike and down dip. And then after that, proposed expansion of mining. And so, as I showed you in those earlier slides, we've got a significant amount of mineralization that we just need to permit. This view here shows a view along the reserve trend looking back to the west. Here's the Golden area, here's the Lucky area. The Golden extension zone that I just showed you is basically coming right down through this area here. And then Bohemian and Schooner, which both would need to be permitted. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and participating in this virtual adventure. Thank you.